42 pouring in my cup. In the session, real loud, good gas, yeah, you know we about to roll it up. Bring the bottles to the session, big tab, go ahead and just live it up. Get lit one night, after that, we can go ahead.
What's going on? What's going on? It's your boy Icon. And we here on 95 South Podcast once again. First and foremost, want to thank God for this opportunity to be on here and to have another great show. And put my grass on, getting old, y'all. And then secondly, I want to introduce my right hand man, what I'm saying, Mr. All Everything, Mr. Voiceover itself, Mr. Uh make the panties drop, Mr. Uh, you know, he just that guy, Mr. Your baby mama favorite host, all them things. Man, Jacob the Great in the building. What's going on, fam?
Oh, what's up, man? Glad to be in the land of the living, man. Good morning to all, man. We here, bro. Another day, another chance to get it right. A chance and a choice, man. A lot of people can't say they got a chance and a choice, but we have one. So I'm grateful.
Yeah. So, man, what I'm gonna say is, this is our Father's Day special. Shout out to the real fathers first and foremost. Shout out, and I'm gonna just say that the fathers that need to get it together, get it together. Please get it together, especially the black men, because y'all making the rest of us look crazy because y'all don't want to get y'all act together. So shout out to all the real fathers, real men out there, and all the fake fathers, fake men. Get your act together. But anyway, what I'm saying? What you want to discuss on the father tip this morning edition, my
Um,
brother?
Actually, man, a lot of people become, a father. A lot of people, bring children into the world, man. But when you're young, there's something that's called understanding fatherhood. and and let's talk about the importance of understanding fatherhood and how long does it take a person to really understand fatherhood and what that really means to the wife or the girlfriend or and to the children and and with you embracing fatherhood, how does that impact you to how the rest of the world perceive you?
Okay, okay. Basically, fatherhood. It's like being a father is like a person when you hear somebody saying they super talented, they super gifted, they God gifted or whatever. Certain thing. Oh, you can't teach leadership. You can't teach this. You can't teach that. So being a father is an instinct thing. You know what I mean? Mothers, most of the time, it comes just naturally because that baby came out their womb. And, most mothers, when a baby come out their womb, it's just a natural thing inside of them that's going to push them to be a great mother. With fathers, sometimes it's based on what's inside of that man. It's based on who the character of that man is. So if a man don't have the right character and the right morals and values and integrity to be a great father, then he probably won't be. Now, you hear a lot of men talk about how the mother keeps them away from their child, or I've heard even the most lamest terms of, well, the family don't like me, so that's why I don't come around. First of all, and I told my oldest son, his biological dad, he said that. And I told him, I said basically, I said basically in this situation, I don't care if I got to go through hell and high water to see my child. I'm gonna see my child. You know what I mean? I don't care what I got to do to see my child. I'm gonna see my child. If I got to go to court over and over again, if I got to sit down with the mom, the grandma, the uncles, everybody to get an understanding, whatever needs to happen needs to happen. But I'm not going to not see my child and be in my child's life because of my ego or my feelings. And I think a lot of times with men, they put their egos too much. They let their egos take over them when it comes to that child and that mother being the way she is. You know what I mean? A mother's gonna be a little belligerent. A mother's gonna be a little crazy and a little, whatever when it comes to their child. And especially if a mother has to do everything by herself, and the dad just want to live his regular life. And I think that's the biggest thing about all of this is a lot of times a mother be a single mom having to do everything. When the kid gets sick, they gotta take care of the child. They got to get the kid back and forth to daycare. They gotta do everything for the child, and the dad wants to pop in and pop out when he feel like it. You know what I'm saying? Or whatever. So at the end of the day, to me, I think fatherhood is one of those things that's about the integrity of a man. You know what I mean? If you got it right, you got the right integrity and the right morals and the right values, then it should be no excuse, no reason why you can't be in your child's life. And it ain't always about money. And that's what everybody think it's always about. Oh, well, the dad would be like, well, I ain't really got the money. I had to go off and figure it out. No, you didn't. You could have still figured out the money situation and still spend. Because when a child is 4 or 5 years old, you think a child care about money? A child care about the dad being in their life. When a little boy, a little girl is at their little recitals or they playing their little sports or whatever the case may be, when they look over on the sidelines, all they want to see is their mom and their dad. They don't care about what their point is. It has nothing to do with money. You know what I mean, or whatever. So that's kind of how I feel about it. You know, in a nutshell.
Oh yeah, man. And I got a few texts. They said that they can't see where we screaming from this morning, so they can't really see the podcast. I don't know if you linked it to the pages or not.
On the Facebook, I mean on the streamer. I don't
Yeah.
know. This morning I got a notification, something about Facebook was doing. I mean, StreamYard was doing something different or whatever. So, because I know I got enough followers and all of that, so I don't know what was going on. But I did link it to everything. Let me see. Keep talking. Let me see if I can link it
Yeah.
on my end again.
All right.
You know,
So, and a lot of times, man, the kids just want to be kids, man. It be these parents beefing with one another. You know, she mad because he didn't moved on, or he mad because she moved on and she got somebody taking care of her. I don't want this person around my kid and stuff. And the man and the new dude, you know, try to keep it cordial with you, and you don't like him just because he with her or some crazy mess, man. So you know, with these situations, man, we got to do better. We most definitely got to do better. And you know, I just think, you know, when it comes to the parents getting along, that's important. You know, even though you may not be with this man, but you can still uplift them and build them up because that's your son or that's your daughter's father. You know what I mean? It don't take much for you encourage people. You know what I mean? Like, and you should get along so y'all can come along. And with that being said, you know, we just gotta keep on striving for excellence and just keep on keep on striving, man. So, you know, I just think that fathers are not reciprocated the same, you know, especially the Father's Day. You know, it's some things, it's some good things here and there. But for Mother's Day, man, listen, man, hey, y'all, you know, we see everything done for Mother's Day. And I think just Father's Day is just, you know, it seems like it's just there. You know what I mean? And so, you know, what do you feel about that, Icon?
repeat yourself on that. Repeat the last part of the question, because I was trying to
Mother's
fix this.
Mother's Day is the global holiday, but
Mm-hmm.
I just feel like I feel like Father's Day is just there. You know, Mother's Day they get the red carpet, they get the champagne, crystal chandeliers, you know, 5-course meal. Father's Day, you know, you get a sports magazine and a TV dinner. Oh,
Hey, it's funny because I heard a comedian, Ali Sadiq. Shout out to Ali Sadiq. Me and my brother were talking about him the other day, and I said I seen the dude a couple of times, but I ain't never know the guy name. But I seen some of his stand up little clips on TikTok or whatever. So shout out to him. But yeah, but it's funny because he was saying that how Father's Day was considered like the 13th or 14th something like favorite holiday or something. He said, what is 12 other holidays that's above? He said Arbor Day is more celebrated than Father's Day. I don't even know what that is. You know what I'm saying? And
Halloween was celebrated. That's crazy, bro.
yeah, like all these holidays, it's like the Father's Day gets the least respect out of all the major holidays. And I get it, but I don't get it because I'm like, at the end of the day, it's still a lot of great fathers out there, still a lot of great men out there, and I think at the end, I think what it is we talked about this last year on the show when we did the special. That I think a lot of times people expect that men don't really want the accolades or they don't want their flowers, or a lot of time we just, we know what we're supposed to do as men, because with men, with fathers, it's like that's what you're supposed to do, is be a father, which is true. But at the same time, we need encouragement. We need a pat on the back. We need somebody to tell us that we're doing good too. You know what I mean? It don't always have to be a situation where uh uh you know it's just like anything in life. If you got a job, any kind of job you have, anything you do in life, every now and then you want people to give you your flowers. You want people. That's why they got award shows. That's why they give awards out in sports or entertainment, or even your job has employee of the month or employee of the year, and you get quarter awards and all that, because everything has an incentive to it. So even with fathers, sometimes we want, we're not gonna necessarily ask for it or beg for it, but sometimes we want our flowers too. You know what I mean? To say that we're doing the right thing or we doing a good job. And mothers, they get it, tenfold over. But when it comes to fathers, we just kind of left in the dark, or just kind of just treat it like okay, Dad, here go your tie, here go your little grill, here go your whatever, you know what I mean? And we kind of like, okay, so, but throughout the year, when things pop off, especially with real men, when that child get in trouble, or when things got to happen, and money got to be given to that child, you know what I'm saying? Who you think a lot of time the mom got to go to when she got to go to her husband to say, well, Junior need, you know what I'm saying, some need some money for blah blah blah. Who you think the mother have to go to get to get a yes on that? You know what I mean? Or to be able to say, you know what I'm saying, let's do what you got to do to make sure he good or she good. You know what I'm saying, or whatever. A lot of times it's the dad that has to do that. You know what I'm saying? He the one. Like a lot of times the dad got to be the one to go out and make the money, or come up with the money to make it happen for the house. You know what I mean? Especially on the dads that's really out there putting in the work. You know what I'm saying?
They it's a group out here that will argue that fact with you. They would say that dads ain't ish. They've been doing this by themselves for the blase, and but it may not be the man that you had to bathe with, but you got your daddy and your granddaddy and your uncles and your brothers and your older male cousins that's been helping you raise them kids along the way. But you said men ain't ish. I don't know how that works.
Yeah, I mean, but like I said, man, in some cases it is, and I get it. It's a lot of mothers out there who got to fend for themselves, and got to figure it out.
No, it's not, bro. I'm gonna tell you why. Because if you got a dad, you got an uncle, you got a brother that's still spending money, you can't say man ain't ish.
Well,
You
yeah,
can't do it.
I see what you're saying. I see what you're
You
saying.
can't cause it still stems from a man doing this, that, and the third for you.
Hmm.
Not don't put all men in the box because your sorry ass is a poor choice of character.
Yeah,
He
yeah,
went ish. He cheated on you before y'all had a baby, and and he gonna continue to do it. You know what I mean? That man went ish, man.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
But you,
yeah.
but
Because
you,
you're right. Because a lot of men, a lot of women, they might not have the father that's in the life, but a lot of women do have, like you say, an uncle or a brother or somebody that's there helping her with her son or her daughters or whatever, maybe getting them to school, maybe going to practice, maybe filling in when she might have to work second shift or third shift, and that the uncle or the brother has to be at the ball games and stuff like that with the son and all that kind of stuff. So a father figure is not always the dad itself. Sometimes the dad is somebody who's playing a role or whatever, just like with you being an uncle with your nephew, and get you make sure your uncle get on the bus, on and off the bus every day. You know what I mean? So you feel that role too, also as being a father in the life of that person. That's just like when you get an auntie or somebody like that. When you get an auntie or you get a cousin or somebody or a grandmother who fills in that same role. So a lot of men was raised by their granddads or whatever in certain situations. So it's always somebody playing a role somewhere in these children's life in a father figure role. You know what I mean? It may be men in the community. Um, I know that's kind of how I was raised. I was raised more with different men um, in the community that were there. Like shout out to Mr. Hines. He was in charge of our pool, and he also would come pick up sometime like when we play like rec ball and stuff. He would come pick up some of the kids, get them back and forth to practice, especially when the mothers couldn't get to the kids and get them home or whatever because she had to work or whatever, had to work late. So so it's a lot of men like from my hometown in the community that was there, making sure the kids got back and forth to the practice and things of that nature. Or you had men at school, what I mean, that the teachers or whatever, certain teachers that knew you in the community and knew your family in the community, that made sure that you stayed on the straight and narrow. So I think when it comes to men, a lot of times we just look at it from, oh, who's the dad towards that child, and don't look at it as the totality of who's the men in the community that's still there to try kind of push these kids through. If you listen to a lot of athletes, if you listen to a Dwayne Wade, or you listen to a Shannon Sharp, or you listen to, I know a lot of people talk about LeBron not having a dad, but he had coaches and stuff that helped him out. You know what I'm saying? So it's always been different men. A lot of times when you see these kids that's come from bad neighborhoods, whether it's in New York or Chicago or LA, that they'll say, well, Coach blah 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 was the one that pushed me through or kind of helped me get my act together, whether it was AI with John Thompson, you know what I mean? And, when he got hit all his trouble and, could have went to prison and never got a chance to play college ball. It was John Thompson who went and snatched AI up and got him back right and got him straight. So it's always somebody there, male figure wise and father figure wise, that's there. You know what I mean? A lot of times it's when your mom does have a boyfriend, and that he gonna become your stepdad. Sometimes it's the best thing for you. Sometimes it's it could be any kind of male figure that's around or whatever. It could be your mom's. Like my mom had a good friend. Shout out to Nathaniel. You know what I'm saying? That couple of times when I was kids, he took me and my sister fishing or whatever, and they never had a romantic relationship. They was always just best friends or whatever. And a lot of times you don't hear that. That's not too many times when you hear a man and a woman that can be best friends and never have that a sexual relationship. But they had a brother sister relationship. You know what I mean? And to this day, anytime my mom asks him for anything or whatever, for as like if she need to get somewhere, like a bus, like she's getting on a bus or a plane or something, and she needs somebody to take her to the airport. That's I think he moved a couple of years ago, moved away, but up until that time, that's who she would call to get her from where she needed to go. But he was that kind of male figure that I kind of seen in my life. You know what I'm saying, or whatever, whatever that kind of was around a little bit. So, I just think that men, we just don't. I don't know what it is that we don't get the respect we deserve when it comes. I think we all get bunched in the same group of men being sorry or men not doing right by their kids and whatever. And this is what kind of And I'm gonna ask you this too. This what kind of bothers me because I think we a repeat offender, and I think that a lot of times when we learn better. When we learn something, when we know better, we do better. And
Hmm.
this what bothers me about men that not good fathers. If you had a bad father or whatever, a father that wasn't around, wouldn't that make you want to be a better father? You know what I'm saying?
It
Wouldn't that
would.
want you to make you want to do right by your kids? Like, I'm just gonna be 100. I'm gonna be 1,000 on here. And well, shout out to JJ the exec, but I'm gonna just be 1,000. My dad for me wasn't around for me as a kid, and he
Hmm.
stayed a couple of miles away from me. Now, later on, I found out my dad did a lot for the community, a lot for the people, whatever the case may be. But physically in my life, he wasn't in my life. So when I got older and became a father, you know what I mean? I worked a lot, but the one thing that I tried to be was present in my kid's life or whatever. So if nothing else, I was going to be present in my kid's life as much as I possibly could. You know what I mean? Did
Okay.
I make mistakes? A lot of them when I was yes, because I was young. I was 22 or 23 years old when I started being a father. So yes, I made a lot of mistakes or whatever, but I felt like, as they got older and I got older, I understood the value and the meaning of me being around, and it wasn't about the money part of it. When my kids was in band, they was doing plays, when they was doing whatever they was doing, they just wanted me to be there. You know what I mean? They didn't care about anything I had going on in my life. They just wanted me to be there when it was time for them to be there for them. You know what I'm saying, or whatever.
Yeah.
That's the biggest thing that bothers me when it comes to dads now is that if you had a terrible childhood, I can say terrible childhood, but if you had a missing father in your life as a child, wouldn't that make you want to be better? So what's your thoughts on that?
Logically and respectfully, it should make you want to be better. Um, I can only go by what I see about what my friends went through because mine was always there, bro. My parents were married for 40 years before my pops passed away, so I didn't know how they felt like. But my friends did used to tell me, bro, you know how lucky you is. I used to look at them like with this strange look on my face. I'm like, what are you talking about, man? They were like, bro, you got both of your parents in the same household. They married. And you get to see your sisters and brothers every day. Y'all grow up together, man. Your family go out to eat together, man. Y'all go shopping together. Your pops take y'all to ball games. Like, that's not normal. I'm looking at them like, what's not normal? They said that's not normal. And I'm like, I
You
just,
know,
I just, I just sigh for a minute, right? I'm like, I take a deep breath. I said, man, it's not normal for whom? I said, cause we got plenty of friends that he say, yeah, yeah, it is a lot, but what y'all don't look at, it's not a lot. They just don't say nothing, man.
hmm
Some of the friends that you grow up from the sandbox with ain't never seen they daddy. I said, what? I said, man, so who's the dudes that be at the games with them? Like man, that's they uncles or one of their older cousins, which would be their mom first cousin. Like that ain't their dad, man. So I'm like, okay. I'm like, okay then.
hmm
All right. Well, so I really thought that was normal, man. But I thought it was strange for a person dad to live here and their mom to live here. I'm like, what the hell? What? Who does
Yeah.
that? Who has a child with somebody and they don't raise this child together or they don't be in the same like
hmm
I used to hear old men say if she good enough to nut in, then she good enough to marry.
Yeah, yeah. And it's the thing because it's funny because me and you talked about this before when you asked certain questions about and you didn't understand. I said, well, Jeff, you got to understand like the way you was raised and the way some of these kids was raised, it's a different mentality. That's why the way you look at stuff sometimes and the way things are sometimes is totally different. Like when I grew up, none of my friends had fathers around. So it was normal. It was normal to us not to have a father around because we didn't have one. None of us had one. I could name one of my friends that had their father. He passed away when we was in high school. He was sick all the time. He had sickle cells. So that's the only one I know that had a father around, and he was too sick most of the time to really even, he tried to get out and and be involved. And I told my mom, I said he was the one. He was like another type of father figure when we would go out and try to practice. Because I remember I was terrible at hitting the ball in baseball. I told you, baseball is the hardest thing to do in life is try to hit a baseball. And I was trying to learn, and he took his time to kind of try to help me with batting practice or whatever, along with his kids. So when he would take his kids go out for batting practice, he would take me right along with him. You know what I'm saying? And they would take their time to really like try to teach me how to really do it or whatever the case may be. But yeah, but most of my friends in my neighborhood, we didn't, and it was crazy because we was all kind of had the same story where you wouldn't know who your father is. Well, you might know who your father was, but you wouldn't be around your father or get a relationship to him until we was all grown. So most of my friends that had fathers, and it was funny because I had one of my friends, he went to school, had a brother that we went to school with since like elementary school. I think he didn't know the guy was his brother until like high school. You know what I'm saying? And we hung around these people like all the time. You know what I mean? And then he figured he'd find out that they had the same dad like in high school. You know what I mean? You gotta think we come from a small town, small city or whatever. You know what I mean? At the time, it was probably like 6,000, 7,000 population of people. You know what I'm saying? So whatever, it done grew since then, but like at that time, it was like 6,000, 7,000 people. So mostly everybody knew each other or whatever. But yeah, that's just one of those things where and my kids will tell you it's funny because my kids was the one group of people who had a father and a mother in their life, and they was like, oh man, you know who your dad is? You know what I'm saying? My kids be looking like, huh? They was like, you know who your dad is? Yeah, my dad live in the house with me. They was like, huh? They was like, what you mean your dad live in the house? My dad live in the house. And then they didn't like some of these kids don't even grasp the concept of having a dad in the house or a dad around. And when they hear about other kids having dads around, it could go one of two ways. Either the kids are jealous of that person who has a dad, or they might want to be around you more and hang around with you more, especially if they meet your dad. Like my son friends always wanted to meet me, and some of them wanted to be around me, and then some of them from day one started calling me pops and dad and all of that. You know what I'm saying? From day one, because of course, like some of them didn't have a father figure around. So some of them are already calling me pops and gravitating to me from day one. And then the thing about it was I presented myself in a fatherly way. You know what I mean? Shout out to one of my son's friends. It's crazy because he just texted me now saying Happy Father's Day. I'll hit him up in a minute. Or whatever. Darius, he's in the group with my son, but he called me pops from day one. But if that's another thing, the one thing I learned about when you're dealing with young men, especially, and even young women, when you present yourself to your kids' friends, you present yourself in a fatherly and a dad way. What I mean by that is you don't bring yourself down to their level. You act like an adult. You act like a grown man. So if you want a young person to respect you, you know what I'm saying? You present yourself in a respectful way and don't try to be like them and don't try to act like them and whatever. You know what I mean? So one thing it is, they'd be like, if it was either pops, dad, Mr. Eddie, Unc, somebody like that. So if you present yourself in that way, then you get the respect that you want and that you desire or whatever. But if you try to make yourself act like and look like and talk like the kids, then that's how they're going to treat you. You know what I mean? I would come with my son's kid friends. You know what I mean? If I see them messing up or I see them not doing the right thing, I'm getting in them. You know what I'm saying? Just like I would expect the old heads when I was growing up to get at me if I ain't doing right. That's how I get at these young men or whatever. You know what I mean? I don't try to embarrass them or do nothing like that. But if I tell them like, look, man, you need to get your act together, you need to tighten up, blah, 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 You right, pops. You right. You right. You know what I mean? I need to do better, whatever, whatever. And then later on, they look for me. They look for to come to me for that approval to say, yeah, pops, I did this, that, and the third. Okay, cool. Keep it going. You know what I'm saying? You know, you encourage them, but you say, listen, it don't stop here. You got to keep it going. You got to keep moving forward. And then especially if you're willing to help them and show them, you know, man, how to get from point A to point B. You know what I mean? Or whatever. I mean, one time years ago, when it comes to on my daughter's friends, and this was around the time when they had like the little mini riot, I think in Atlanta, you know what I mean, or whatever. I think it was after the George Floyd situation, if I'm not mistaken. And they had a little mini riot downtown in Atlanta, or whatever, protest you want to call it. And that's where when they were doing all the protesting and when they were doing all the protesting and rioting and whatever you want to call it, all over the country at the same time after the George Floyd situation. And I just remember coming home and I'm telling my kids, listen, telling all the girls or whatever, like, listen, if you ever get pulled over, and I went on this long rant about getting pulled over and about you know, how to handle yourself with the police officers. And because we probably need a police officers on this show actually to discuss how to deal with that. But I remember talking to my daughter's friends, and they just looking at me like, what is Pops talking about? Like I went on a whole 30-minute rant about it because, you know, I just didn't want something to happen with the girls or whatever, you know, because if you're on my watch, then I'm gonna do everything to protect you, and I don't want I don't want something to happen to you on my watch, and you not having the knowledge. And I think a lot of times, not having the knowledge of how to handle yourself in certain situations is what get us killed or get us jammed up, especially in the black community. Because a lot of times it's not even about the fact that we right or wrong. It's about us not having the knowledge to understand how to handle ourselves in certain situations. You know what I'm saying? Especially when you're dealing with the law and police officers and everything else. You know, we always want to go and be belligerent, but we don't understand, okay, this is how you handle yourself in these situations or whatever. And then, because I remember somebody asked me the other day, you know, because I travel all over the country, and somebody asked me, they said, well, do you ever have issues with the police, you know, going around the country in all these different states and stuff? And I said, not really. I said, I've been pulled over 2 or 3 times or whatever, but I've never had a belligerent or disrespectful or crazy police officer, because for one, I know how to carry myself in situations. I know how to talk to people. I said, because to me, it's all about the energy you give when you talk to other people. You know what I mean? So if I don't care if you white or black, if I'm walking in a store and a person walk past me, engages me, I say, what's going on, my brother? How you doing, my brother? Thank you, my brother. You know what I'm saying? Especially with men. I think a lot of times with men, with each other, we don't know how to talk to each other. We think we got to mean mug each other. We got to wait for one to say something to the other one, or, you know what I mean? Sometimes I feel bad if I'm distracted and somebody speak to me and I half-heartedly speak or I don't speak, because, you know, sometimes you do get distracted and somebody is speaking. I'm not really thinking about, you know, I'm not even focused on what's in front of me. I'm just kind of in my own head. And then somebody will speak, and I'll be like, "Oh man, I just nod, I might, and I'm like, oh man, I missed the opportunity there." So I try not to miss an opportunity when I'm talking to other men to be as cordial as possible. And people come to me and talk. My kids will tell you this. You know, my family. People come and talk to me all the time, like for real random reason. If I'm working, like if I do driving Uber, if I'm in a store. I mean, I've had people talk to me in the bathroom. I mean, it just be crazy. Like, I had people come talk to me all the time, and I don't even, you know what I mean? It's not like I'm always walking around smiling. You know what I mean? Tell you got to walk around with a big grin on your face like you doggone, you know, Chuck E. Cheese mascot or something. But I'm just saying, at the end of the day, you know, the energy you give to people is the energy you give back. Even a lot of times when a person is in a bad mood, do you ever go to somebody's job, a restaurant or something, or a retail store, and that person in a bad mood, and you can tell, and when you get up there, you kind of talk to them, hey, how you doing today? What's going on with you today? You know what I'm saying, or whatever, and you kind of talk to them in a way, and all of a sudden they perk up. You know what I mean? So, because sometimes that's all they needed. They just needed that boost of energy to get them back, get them back right. You know what I mean? Or at least for that moment. They might be going through some other stuff at home or whatever that got them down like that. But you don't have to combat bad energy with bad energy. That's all I'm saying. A lot of times that's our biggest problem. We always want to quick to, especially in a restaurant and the fast food and stuff. Because a lot of times we look for something to go wrong when we go get something to eat. We get to a McDonald's or something, and we look for the Checkers or whatever it is, and we look for the person around. As soon as they say something, they could say, "Hey, how can I take your order?" Well, I ain't like the way they said that. You know what I'm saying? It's like, nah, we can't combat bad energy with bad energy. You know what I mean? So, but getting back to this whole man, like Father's Day, um, thing, or father being a father, a great father. Like I said, it's all about you being present in the kid's life or whatever. That's the biggest thing.
Well,
So yeah.
let me ask you a question, Akon, man. Man, you've been a father many years now, since you was 23. Ups and downs. Kids got different personalities. Um, Kids don't look at things how parents look at it, and it's one kid gonna be like tell the other child, man, you wrong, man. Like don't do that. You wrong. Like what if we ain't have no parents? What if our dad was not who he is? Do you see what we see as we've grown up from elementary to middle school to high school and the college and the working force and see how it has affected and shaped people for the rest of their lives? So like your son is a father to be soon. And so with that being said, man, what are those in conversations of importance that you and him are having and you and him are going to continue to have? Because when a young man enters that world into fatherhood, they need to be properly guided. And so what are some of the things that you and him have been discussing, you know, since he told you, since he broke the news to you, and what are those conversations like? Cause
Well,
before you answer, I can say that I have seen the change in him. I have seen the change in him intellectually, emotionally. I've seen the change in him the way he look at the world, the way he view people now. Like so, I've seen the change in him since I heard the news from having conversations with him, even just about business or just about life. I seen him transition from living down south to moving New York to go chase his dreams and knowing that I got to be the man for my wife to be and my child. So what are those conversations like between you and him, father and son?
well, the one thing I always try to teach my son about being accountable and about being a man, or being a man first. You know what I mean? And the thing about it is about being a man first is that basically understanding your responsibilities as a man. So my daughter had a child, and dealing with her, the dynamic is a little different, especially when you got a situation where the father is not being as present as he should be. So me understanding my granddaughter needs a father figure in her life, I try to be there as much as I can be. You know what I mean? Especially when I'm home off the road, I spend a lot of time with my granddaughter to show her this is how a man operates. And my son is the same way. When he's around, he tries to spend as much time with as he can to show this is what a man and a father looks like. So with him being, you're not gonna get the same leeway as your sister, because you are a man and you have to step up immediately. And the one thing I will say with him is, as soon as he found out that he was being about to be a father, his whole demeanor changed. So I kind of, one thing I understand with him is he's always been a serious cat since he was a little kid. But at the same time, I feel like some of the stuff I instilled in him to say this is how you move as a grown man has attributed to who he is, because I hold him accountable for, like, I remember about a year and a half ago, last Christmas, not this Christmas, last Christmas, we got in a big argument. And he finally said, "Dad, sometimes you don't treat me like I'm an adult, like I'm a man." And I said, "Well, you got to start acting like one." I said, because if you're going to treat you like a man, then a man don't come be asking another man always to help him with every little thing. Especially when it comes, you have to fix, especially when you have the capabilities to go out and if you need money, but you're not going out, if you saying you don't want to work or whatever you want to work for yourself, but you always need money. And I'm like, that's not what a man does. Yeah, a man needs help. A man can need help, but a man should never ask for help until he learns he can actually seek out help for himself. You know what I'm saying, or whatever. If I like they say that situation, I can bring the fish to you. You know what I'm saying. I can either teach you how to what they say, fish for the I can teach you how to I can feed you or I can teach you how to fish. You know what I'm saying, or whatever. So I can either feed you the fish or I can teach you how to fish, and then so you can continue to go out and get your own fish. So that's why I try to teach him is that I can feed you all day, but I would rather show you how to fish so you can basically get your own food. So I'd rather show you how to be a man, how to go get money, so you can go get your own money instead of me always have to give you something. Because no man, if you're a real man, no man should never feel good about somebody have to always give him something. I don't care if it's your woman, I don't care if it's your mom, your sister. No man should ever feel good about somebody having to give them something. Anytime in my life I've had to ask somebody to give me something, whether I had to pay it back or not, I felt like I was at my lowest point. You know what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, that's the one thing I try to teach my son. Go out and hustle to get your own. Do not lean on other people to give you something or whatever, because the one thing, they're going to hold it against you, and two, they never going to look at you the same. And then when he's talked about going from being a boyfriend to being a husband, I say it's a different dynamic when you start talking about going from a boyfriend to a husband. I said, because when you just a boyfriend, your girl, yeah, she looks at you to see what you're going to do, how you handle certain situations, but it's not the same. When you're her husband, she expects you to do certain things. See, when you're a boyfriend, your girlfriend going to look at you as, I hope he can do certain things, or I'm going to see if he going to do certain things in certain situations. When you're a husband, you're expected to do certain things and handle things a certain way and stand on your business all the time. You know what I'm saying? So that's one thing I always try to teach him is understanding the dynamics and the evolve and how you evolve as a man. Whoever you are at 23 is not who you should be at 43 or 63 or even 83, whatever. You know what I'm saying? By the time you get 10, 15 years up the road, you should be a whole different type of person. You know what I mean?
So why do you think it is that a lot of men don't know how to be fathers? You know, I tell people all the time, who taught them? You know, so what are we expecting? You know, and then a lot of men are in a closed off space. They don't open up, and you know, because they feel like nobody understands. Because you know, listen, the way the laws are set up, the laws are not really for men. You know, they just expect you to do, and then you know that can cause a mental capacity, emotional capacity, and then if you're not spiritually connected to God, man, you just going around in a circle and moving nowhere fast. So, how do a man be a father when they never had one to show them how to be a father?
I mean, really, it's about trial and error at that point. It's really about learning on your own. I mean, unless you get a pastor or some kind of older person, like me personally, when I got like my adult age and I started going to church, especially when I got to church in Atlanta, and by that time you got to think. By the time I got to Atlanta, I'm 30. I'm like, oh, how old I was like 32 by then. So I was 32 by the time I got to Atlanta. So that was the first time, my first church I went to, um, AICPC in Atlanta. That was the first time I actually was around men who exuded everything when it comes to being a man. They was Christian men. they was fathers as far as like being in their kids' life. Some of them still have been married 40, 50 years. You know what I mean? They've been in from the military to all kind of walks of life. So they have certain morals, certain values about them. Did they still make mistakes as men and do whatever? Yeah, but I was around men who showed me what a man looks like and how to be there for other men. So when I'm going through what I'm going through, they calling me on the phone, checking on me, asking me if I'm good, whatever, you know what I mean, and giving me advice as how to how to handle certain situations or just being there for me as a man. And so I didn't learn really how to carry myself as a man till I seen other men that was way older than me. We talking about 60, 70, 80-year-old men. I ain't talking about, I'm 32. I ain't talking about 40-year-olds. I'm talking about I was around men that's been through something. They've been through civil rights movement and all kind of stuff. I mean, they done been in Vietnam wars and they done been through some stuff. You know what I mean? So to me, that's the thing. I think these young boys have to understand. You might look at an older man and say, well, you looking at what he got like material wise, but you're not getting the wisdom he trying to impart in you. Go get that wisdom he trying to give you. You know what I'm saying? Because I carry that to this day. You know what I mean? A couple of the men in my church that I started looking like his father figures at that time. You know what I mean? And if it's crazy part, I've never been able to replace those men in my life because they passed away. But I've never able to replace them as who they were in my life. But I did take the information that they gave me and I try to use it in my life to this day. You know what I mean?
Okay. Well, it's good when you can be around those type of individuals, man, and it's good when you have a listening ear because when you're going through stuff as a man, especially fatherhood, man, and you're going through this back and forth process, with your kid's mother or and you're not quite understanding, and you feel like she's not understanding you, so it's good that you can really talk to males that's really been through that. Cause you ain't about to sit here and tell me a person that's been married for 30, 40 years ain't been through nothing with their marriage, because they have. They done been through the ups and downs and things of that nature. So that's a really, 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 really good thing. And so as far as now, man, as far as how women view men, why do you think it is the way it is now?
And you said the way that women review men. I mean, how they view men.
Yeah, how they look at men nowadays.
Well, it depends on what you mean by men, because I think that women, like black women, they look at they black men a little certain way, and they look at other culturally men a different way, which I think is kind of I think it's kind of like unwarranted or like disrespectful to a certain degree, because I feel like all men, sometimes all of us have the same characteristics, good and bad in certain cases. It's just that if you're a black woman, you may not have had an interaction with a white man as much. So you think a white man may be different or better than your brothers just based off of what you've allowed in your life. And like you said, if a black men don't cheat or black men cheat, all men, white men do the same thing. You know what I'm saying? White men ain't no different than no black men when it comes to cheating, or if it comes to sometimes putting their hands on a woman or being deadbeat dads or whatever the case may be. But I just think that at the end of the day, a lot of times it's the woman who she allows in her life, especially at a young age, because what you see and what you're around at a young age. And not saying necessarily allow, because sometimes you can say if you have a bad father, you don't have no father in your life as a child, and then by the time you spend 16, 17, 18 years old, you're looking for a father figure. Now you're getting in bad relationships because you're getting with that street cat that, you know what I mean, he act like he love you, but he willing to beat on you, or he willing to put you in a situation to get you jammed up and put in prison, or whatever the case may be, or y'all start having kids and then he leave you with the kids, or whatever the case may be. So by the time you 30, 40, 50 years old, you bitter. So now you're thinking all men are bad or whatever, and then you start to dive into being, experimenting with women, or you start, whatever. So it's just like, I just feel like a lot of times is a woman to say, "Oh, every man been in my life been such been so bad, so terrible." So, but the common denominator is you. So if you keep attracting to the same man, whether you attracted to him or he attracted to you, then what are you exuding to him, or what are you looking at in that man when you feel like, okay, it's the man? Sometimes, yeah, a man gonna be who he is, but what are you doing when you keep attracting the same man? Obviously, if I go somewhere, if I do something one time and I know it's not good for me, I'm going over here this time. So the same thing with a woman. If you date a man and he beating on you, he a deadbeat, he doing all this stuff that you don't like, then you need to go to the next thing. You need to look for the total opposite in the next man. You know what I'm saying? But you keep going back to the same man over and over and over again. And by the time you realize it, you bitter and you mad because you don't got nothing to show for it. All you got is a baby daddy that you arguing with all the time, or ex-boyfriend who crazy and deranged who trying to get you back, and you don't know how to get him out your life. So I think that's kind of what that kind of comes across. Sometimes is the issue.
Okay. Well, you know, shout out to all the fathers, man. Mine's no longer here with me, man, but I can say, man, the things he taught me, boy, I feel like I got a doctorate degree. For real. And I say shout out to all the fathers that's doing what they're supposed to do, man, and shout out to all the fathers that's taking care of children that's not biologically theirs, and you know you definitely need it. You definitely impact the world, man. So I just want to say salute to all the fathers today.
Mm-hmm. And I'm gonna say this before we get out of here, before you do the drop or whatever, is that at the end of the day, it's never too late to get it right. Me and my dad and my sister got it right, and I was 24, 25, almost 25. I think I was 24 at the time, 25, somewhere around there. When we finally had sat down and he finally apologized for not being there, and we was able to. He was the best granddad in the world. The crazy part, my kids would say, "With Dad, all the stuff with the way you explain granddad, we didn't see it. Well, you know what I mean, or whatever, because he was the best granddad you could be at that point." So just understand, and to that casket drop, you still got a chance to get it right.
All right, you heard it first, man. Get it right with your pops, man, because we don't get but one. You know what I mean?
Well, pops get it right with your kids. Pops get it right with your kids.
But vice versa.
Yeah.
Because you know, a lot of times, man, it can be that bitterness, and if you don't talk to one another, you know what I'm saying, it's gonna stay there. So both need to get it right, but mainly you right, the pops, because kids don't have to be here. You're definitely right about that. So, So man, we want to thank y'all for rocking in with the 95 South podcast, broadcasting in 191 countries. You know, with additional online monitoring by online radio box, powered by the VGN, the Village Global Network, and Zeno FM Radio. Make sure you go to your local Play Store, whether you have iPhone or Android, and download the Village Global Network app, where you can listen to all the shows and all the stations just under the Village Global Network. I am King Jacob. You're tuned in with Icon E as well. Peace and blessings. Happy Father's Day, and we are out of here.
No doubt.
Got the good vibes, got the 1942 pouring in my cup.